two more, sorry. Just need to wrap up.
I was wondering if you could give us some insight as to how best to reclaim certain issues that I see the liberals taking advantage of, and that I think we're not as strong. I'll give two examples. One is the Democrats have said that their main strategy for 2008 is the environment, and people are running around with a completely false belief that regulations, state power, and taxes are going to somehow save the environment. Similarly, we have this issue with internet regulation, and this is you're talking about. Yeah, you talk about how Democrats have the edge in blogging, and these guys running around not even realizing that they're saying save the internet by, in effect, turning it over to the FCC. These seem like issues where if we really pushed hard, we could undermine some of the core things that they're using. But I was looking for some guidance as to how to go about doing that, because right now they seem to have the edge.
Well, I hope they run these two issues. They won't win. Yeah. If they want to run on the environment and internet regulation, they won't win. In Michigan, it's the economy, and that's one of the problems that Dick had. I mean, he was able to articulate the problem. He was never quite able to articulate his answer to the problem when he ran for governor. And I'm sure he's looking back now. Or he may have been doing it, they weren't covering it, but that was part of the problem. The thing is, you've got to, and I don't know, I would encourage you tomorrow's Thursday, tune in to Newt's town hall meeting, right, where he's talking about a lot of these issues. It's making the message very simple message, and being able to repetitively communicate that message to regular voters. He talked about his differences with Bush. He said it's very easy to communicate. He says, I think our borders ought to be secure. Levees ought not fail. Bridges shouldn't fall down. The schools ought to teach. That's what I differ. And say, yeah, I get that. You know, I mean, and we've got to, if we're going to be the Republicans, let's be Republicans, and let's truly get rid of the earmarks. When I saw in the paper today, we were out there running against earmarks, I saw three of the people that are listed are pushing various earmarks for all Republicans. Whether we're for it or we're not. You know, if you run here for Republicans, then it means you gotta stay true to your core. I mean, we might talk about it more later. I don't have an idea right now on how you communicate on internet communication with the FCC. We have to look at that. But I can tell you, if the party would have stood firm on immigration, would have not let power go to their heads, would have handled themselves ethically in the Congress, would have not spent money on drunken sailors, then I think the one issue we would have had is in the war. We could have withstood that one issue and we wouldn't have lost the majority in probably in either house, because we've been fighting those other issues with America. So we lost that portfolio. We should have, because we were awful. But I'll take the guidance to work, and I'm going to take him.
Okay. One quick question. Since you were so intimately involved in the Engler administration, can you describe in detail to us how John Engler changed from when he was running as a candidate for governor until he was finally leaving office, since the next thing that happened after that is we got a female governor? And compare that to how Bush started and how Bush is now.
Well, I left as chief of staff. I wasn't here for the last 8 years. I left Michigan after those 4 years. I think that, let me put it this way. As I said, we wouldn't have made the changes in those first 4 years had we not I really believe this, had we not been forced to make the changes. It's a lot easier giving stuff away than just taking stuff away. And that's, and that business used to be like, and what we were forced to do was to take things away. And I thought we did that, effectively, and with necessity, we not have done it with communicating the best way. But then things start getting better. And the economy gets flushed, even though we put away over $2 billion in rainy day fund. We probably could have used that goodwill to achieve even more change in government. I just think it's sort of the natural inclination to please.
But how did he change as a man? How did he change? How did the 8 years change him?
I don't think he changed changed personally.
I mean, yeah, personally, was there a growth factor? Was there a,
Oh, he grew a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he grew a lot, but his values didn't change. I mean, yeah, they ended up spending more money and that, but for example, he never changed on, in '94, for example, he's pro-life. He's also anti-death penalty. Because he says, look, either you're for life or you're against life. And I mean, I like that, you know, that's between, let God and them work that out. I'm pro-life. And we had we were thinking Larry Owen might have been our opponent in '94. We were like, maybe become death penalty for certain cases, because Larry Owen was very good at that penalty. So, one thing John Engler had, which sustains the men and sustains the message, is very strong faith. He's very quiet about it. He has a very strong faith. And he also has he's very comfortable with who he is. And he's very comfortable with the decisions he makes. And he was then, he was all throughout his administration, and he is today at NAM. And so none of that really changed. Some of the politics changed, but him himself changed. And I can tell you about Bush. I mean, people say that he's the most stubborn, individual there is. I mean, obviously he's learned about policy. He's learned about how to work in the environment that he has. But one thing that he's very steadfast in he's comfortable with who he is too. I mean, I think that's he's very comfortable with who he is. He's very comfortable with his faith. He's quiet about it. I mean, there's similarities there.
what could he do to get his ratings up?
Well, what would happen if we got our ratings up? There's really only one thing, if we capture Osama bin Laden.
So we can count on
If
that
we
just
accomplish
before the
Osama
election.
bin Laden, or the next, in the next year, the coalitions in Iraq come together, the violence stops, they decide they're going to govern themselves, and we're able to pull out and leave the country in peace and secure. The ratings will go up. They may go out on an uptick, if we bomb Iran, but I'm not sure. I mean, that would happen. It's really Iraq that's driving so much of this. The other thing he did, he really fixed the borders. But that should have been done 6 years ago. That's just like a no-brainer, and that's listening to Washington. That would have helped. But yeah, I think if they caught bin Laden, Zarqawi, and if those things were to happen, and if the Sunnis and the Kurds and the Shias were to come together and say, okay, we've had enough of this, they turn on Al Qaeda, they come together, they share the oil wealth, they share a vision for the future, and maybe it's 3 regions, maybe it's 3 nation states instead of 1. That I think that would help, and I think he goes out his legacy and starts to say, I told you, but he'll go out with approval rating in the low 30s, and history will judge whether or not it should have been in the 60s. Thanks.
Thank you very much.